I never paid much attention to the people around me, just faces passing in a blur as I navigated my way through the bustling city. But there was one face, always different, yet hauntingly familiar, that began to pierce through the anonymity of the crowd. The disguised follower. It started innocently enough. A man in a business suit at the coffee shop, a woman in workout gear at the gym, always just within my peripheral vision. At first, I dismissed it as mere coincidence, a series of odd encounters in a city teeming with strangers. But then, the disguises grew more elaborate. One day, it was an elderly janitor sweeping the streets. The next, a street performer with a grotesque mask. Each time, their eyes bore into me, a sinister awareness beneath the facade. I felt a shiver down my spine, an unease that lingered long after the encounter. I couldn't escape the feeling that I was being watched, studied, and mimicked. One evening, after a particularly long day at work, I spotted the disguised follower again. This time, they wore the uniform of a pizza delivery person, blending seamlessly into the chaotic restaurant where I sought refuge. My paranoia reached a boiling point. I approached them, trying to keep my voice steady. "Who are you? Why are you following me?" They looked up, the mask concealing their face. A chilling smile played at the corners of their lips. "Following you? Oh no, I'm just a regular person going about my day. You must be mistaken." The nonchalance in their voice sent a shiver down my spine. I couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter was just another layer of their unsettling game. Days turned into sleepless nights as the disguises became increasingly disturbing. A clown at the grocery store, a mime at the subway station. Each encounter, a step closer to madness. I questioned my sanity, wondering if I had become a pawn in some sick, twisted game. In a desperate attempt to break free, I changed my routines and took unexpected detours, but the disguised follower adapted. It was as if they knew my every move, anticipating my attempts to escape. One stormy night, as the rain pounded on the pavement, I saw them again. This time, a figure in a hooded cloak blended into the shadows. Enough was enough. I confronted them, my voice shaking with a mixture of fear and frustration. "Why are you doing this? What do you want from me?" They chuckled, the sound echoing in the empty alley. "You can't escape, you know. I'll always find you. I just want to be close to you." My heart raced as I stumbled backwards, the hooded figure advancing, the disguise now a nightmarish silhouette. Panic seized me as I turned and ran, the rhythmic echo of footsteps behind me. The climax unfolded in the dimly lit alley, the rain masking the tears streaming down my face. I felt a hand on my shoulder, a bone-chilling whisper in my ear. "I'll never let you go." The world blurred as I succumbed to the darkness. The next morning, they found me in that alley, soaked and shivering. The disguised follower was nowhere to be seen. The police dismissed it as a mere case of paranoia. But I knew the truth. The disguises might have vanished, but the fear lingered. The chilling certainty that somewhere, in the crowd, the disguised follower was waiting, blending seamlessly until the next unsettling encounter. The days that followed the alley incident were a blur of anxiety and paranoia. Sleep became elusive, replaced by haunting visions of grotesque masks and hooded figures. I became a prisoner of my own fear, reluctant to venture beyond the safety of my apartment. The city, once vibrant and full of life, now felt like a labyrinth with unseen eyes watching my every move. My friend Jake noticed the change in my demeanor and couldn't ignore my growing unease. One evening, he persuaded me to move to the city with him, telling me it would be a fresh start to everything that must be going on. "I am not sure that's what I need right now," I exclaimed. "A lot of stuff has been happening and I feel like I would be watched regardless of what I do." "Don't worry, your stalker won't follow you all the way to the city," Jake urged me. A sinking feeling fell in the pit of my stomach. "How do you know about my stalker?" As if my life was a sick horror movie, Jake smiled. The same sinister smile I saw on the stalker that fateful day. "I followed this girl on Bumble, thinking that we could have a chance together. It's been a long time since I tried dating again, but my friend told me he found his girlfriend through Bumble, and it was the best choice he ever made. So, here I am, taking my chances with online dating again. Surprisingly enough, she swiped right, and we got to chatting. Just like in her bio, she was a sweet Southern girl interested in online dating. We chatted for a week before I proposed the idea of a dinner date. "Dude, I can't believe you got so lucky," my friend clapped for me in excitement. "Let me know when the wedding is going to happen." "I've only been talking to her for a week. Cut it out," I playfully slapped his shoulder. The night of our date arrived, and I met her at a cozy little restaurant. She looked just as charming as her profile picture suggested, and the conversation flowed effortlessly. The night ended on a high note, and I left with a smile, thinking I had made a great choice. Days turned into a week, and things took a turn for the strange. Everywhere I went, she seemed to be there too. I'd catch glimpses of her in my peripheral vision, a flash of blonde hair, a familiar silhouette. At first, I thought it was just a coincidence. Maybe she lived in the same neighborhood or had similar interests. One evening, after leaving the gym, I noticed her car trailing mine. I sped up and changed lanes, but she kept following. A shiver ran down my spine, and a sense of unease settled in my stomach. I pulled into a crowded shopping center, thinking I could lose her in the sea of cars. I parked and watched in disbelief as she parked a few spots away. She stepped out, a smile on her face as if nothing was out of the ordinary. "Hey, fancy meeting you here," she greeted, her voice sweet and innocent. My heart raced. "Yeah, funny coincidence," I stammered. The incidents became more frequent. She'd show up at my favorite coffee shop, the grocery store, and even outside my workplace. Each time she'd act surprised, but her eyes held an unsettling intensity. I needed answers. And so, one evening, I confronted her. "Why are you following me?" I demanded, my voice trembling. She laughed, a sound that sent shivers down my spine. "Following you? Oh, sweetheart, I'm just in the right place at the right time. Fate, you know?" Fear gnawed at me. "This isn't fate, this is stalking." She grinned, her eyes now devoid of warmth. "You should be flattered. I just want to be a part of your life. Forever." Chills raced down my spine as the realization hit me. This wasn't a chance encounter, it was an obsession. I needed to put an end to this before it escalated further. My mind raced with thoughts of how to escape this nightmare. As I drove away, I could feel her gaze lingering, her obsession growing. The line between love and madness blurred, and I knew I had to find a way to break free before it was too late. In the days that followed, I became increasingly vigilant, constantly checking my surroundings and taking different routes to throw her off. I confided in my friends, sharing the unsettling experience I was going through. They urged me to report her to the police, but without concrete evidence, I hesitated. One evening I decided to confront her again, this time in a public place. I suggested meeting at a busy park, hoping the presence of other people would discourage any erratic behavior. As we sat on a bench, her demeanor remained eerily composed. "You can't keep doing this," I asserted, trying to maintain a calm facade. "I need my space, and this is not normal." She laughed, the sound sending shivers down my spine once again. "Normal is overrated, darling. I just want to be close to you." With the support of my friends, I decided to involve law enforcement. I documented each incident meticulously, noting dates, times, and locations. Armed with this evidence, I visited the local police station and explained the situation. They took my concerns seriously and issued a warning to the girl, emphasizing the legal consequences if her behavior persisted. For a brief period, it seemed like the warnings had worked. The constant sightings ceased, and I started to regain a sense of normalcy. However, the relief was short-lived. One night, I received an anonymous letter in the mail. Inside was a collage of pictures. Me going about my daily life, unaware of being watched. The chilling message read, "I'll always be watching. You can't escape fate." The police, now armed with tangible evidence, escalated their involvement. Restraining orders were filed, and additional security measures were put in place. The legal process unfolded slowly, but the fear continued to linger. My life had transformed into a twisted reality where every step I took was accompanied by the paranoia of being watched. I never expected the simple act of checking my mailbox could plunge me into a world of horror. It all began innocuously enough, just a few letters here and there. I'd pull them out, expecting bills and advertisements, but what I found was something far more insidious. The first letter arrived on a crisp autumn day, a plain, unmarked envelope with no return address. Inside, I discovered a detailed account of my day, where I went, who I spoke to, what I wore. My initial reaction was disbelief, chalking it up to a strange coincidence or a sick prank. But as the days passed, the letters became increasingly unsettling. "What's wrong?" my friend Emily asked when she noticed the worry etched on my face. "Someone is watching me, Emily. These letters, they know everything. What I ate for breakfast, the color of my bedroom walls. It's like they're living my life with me," I confessed, trying to sound rational but feeling a growing unease in the pit of my stomach. As the letters progressed, so did the level of intrusion. Mundane details turned into ominous threats, each word calculated to instill fear. I began to question every person I passed on the street, wondering if they were the unseen observer chronicling my every move. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the street, I confronted Emily about the unnerving letters. "I don't know what to do, Emily. I feel like I'm being suffocated like there's no escape," I admitted, my voice quivering with a mix of fear and frustration. "We need to go to the police," she suggested, concerned about creasing her forehead. And so, we did. The police listened attentively, taking the letters as evidence. But without a clear threat or a visible stalker, there was little they could do. The boundary between the real world and the nightmare I was living became increasingly blurred. Days turned into sleepless nights as I became hyper-aware of every rustle in the bushes and every footstep behind me. The once familiar surroundings of my life morphed into a sinister stage, and I was the unwilling lead actor in a play directed by the unseen observer. One evening, as the moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie glow on the deserted streets, I received the most chilling letter yet. It wasn't a mere account of my day. It was a detailed description of my deepest fears, my most private thoughts, things I had never uttered to a soul. The letter concluded with a sinister promise. "I know what you fear the most, and soon, you'll have to face it." I was paralyzed with terror. The unseen observer had crossed a line that shook the very core of my being. Desperation led me to confront my fears head-on, to expose the stalker lurking in the shadows. In a heart-pounding climax, I found myself standing alone in the moonlit night, waiting for the inevitable. The air grew tense, and I felt a presence closing in. As the seconds ticked by, I turned to see a figure emerging from the darkness, a distorted reflection of my deepest fears personified. "What do you want?" I demanded, my voice trembling, but resolute. The figure spoke, its voice echoing with a hollow, chilling resonance. "I am the manifestation of your fears, your secrets. I am the observer you cannot escape." With those words, the figure dissipated, melting back into the shadows from whence it came. The letters ceased, and the boundary between my reality and the malevolent observer's realm slowly began to solidify. Just as I thought the nightmare had ended, a plot twist unfolded. Emily, my confidant, revealed she had received the same anonymous letters. The unseen observer had been manipulating the narrative all along, weaving a web of fear that entangled us both. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. The stalker wasn't just watching me. They were orchestrating the entire ordeal, playing with our lives like pieces on a chessboard. Though the nightmare had ended, the scars lingered. The unseen observer had peeled back the layers of my life, exposing vulnerabilities that left me forever changed. The letters were gone, but the haunting memories of being watched lingered, a chilling reminder that sometimes the most terrifying threats come from the shadows within ourselves.